What's up? What is up? I think it was quite the day, huh? Class got canceled. I'm recording a video. Huge hurricane or whatever. And I came to class in slippers. Woo! Yup, slippers. I'm sure you guys have noticed. I come to class in slippers pretty often, actually. Today, the most bizarre choice, probably seems like the most bizarre choice. Raining like hell outside. Really was. And I came to class with some slippers on. A couple of different classes. My programming class had a final. I took them in slippers, and I was pretty wet. Pretty wet, yeah. But the logic behind that, on the normal days at least, are, it's just too much work. Put on socks and then shoes, A lot of work. Instead I can just put on these slippers. I don't have to bend down and, expose my anal area. Question mark. I usually go to the gym before I come to this class, so, I gotta take a shower. I got these sandals on anyway. So I come around with these on. It's nice. It helps keep my feet a little dry, I guess. It is pretty comfortable though. I would never shame anybody else for coming to class in slippers, honestly, I would encourage it, I would definitely encourage it, I love to see people with their feet out, it's a really good turn on for me. Oh, what? Yo, yeah, but no, people should really be more confident in their feet, Huh. But I had a difficult time with my feet image, my self-image, I'd say so. You see, when I was when I'm at Thanksgiving, I got my feet out. I don't wear socks. It's pretty normal. It's pretty normal not to wear socks when you're inside your house. I take it to the next level coming to class with sandals, but I'm at my house. I'm enjoying Thanksgiving dinner with my family members, and everybody, once every Thanksgiving, somebody makes the comment, "I've got some nasty ass feet, man." It's really not that nasty, I'm not gonna show you guys a close up to it, because then the professor probably would show the video. But they're okay, but people think they're nasty. My feet. My toes, my digits. Yeah, my digits have been shamed for being too long and skinny. Yeah, you wouldn't expect that. I do have some calluses, but you don't need to know about that. Sometimes I get to thinking, man, maybe when I was fat, because I was fat a couple of years ago, in high school, I didn't actually receive any comments about my feet, and I was just as open with my feet. Actually, I wasn't going to high school with my sandals, but that was a different me, yo. When I was fat, overweight, I knew I was overweight because I had one of those charts, with your mass and your height, and yeah, I definitely fell on the overweight part. But I never really had a problem with my self-image per se. If anything, I might have loved myself a bit too much, and some people would agree. I can be a bit narcissistic, But I'm also very compassionate. But yeah, there are those days when I wake up and I look in the mirror and I'm like, damn, There are those days, I spend some time in front of the mirror. I'm not fixing my hair or anything. But there's something else about you know, the way I feel. Just look in the mirror. I think it really does have to do with my smile. It really does make me happy when I see it for myself. But even when I was fat, I always thought I was the cutest ladies' man around. You know, I was pretty good with the ladies, but no one would agree with me on that. But yeah, I was pretty good. You know, you guys don't believe me? I can tell you a story. Yeah, I can tell you a story. See, back when I was in high school, around this time, I actually lost most of my weight. It was senior year. I lost most of my weight. What was it? 10th grade. The summer in 10th grade, playing a lot of basketball. But we'll get back to that. Anyhow, senior year comes up. It's senior year, and it is a day for college interviews. So you know your boy. I was decked out. I had some fresh fits. You know, not like these right now, but you know, I had my t-shirt. I had a haircut. I didn't have so much hair back then. I mean, at the time, I actually cut my hair pretty low, and it still looked pretty good. It was more of a, what do you call it? A military cut? Not really. I had some hair up here. It was really straight, you know. And yeah, I looked pretty good. I was feeling myself. I come into a college interview, and this is a story about how I got a girl's number. This is the first time I got a girl's number. So, you know, afterwards, whatever. This is the first time I got a girl's number, and I'm gonna tell you guys about it. It was the day of the college interview. I come in, I do my interview. You know, it's an Asian chick, an Asian lady. Come on, Renny, an Asian lady. She was, I don't know, not memorable, I guess. But she was cool. I do my interview. I was feeling pretty good. My essay that I wrote for my college interviews was really spontaneous. Maybe I'll talk about that later. But yeah, I finished my college interview. I get out of there, and then the secretary asked me, how much scholarship did you get? You know, at the time I answered it like that. You know, I got so and so. You know, and then after a bit, like, man, that was a really weird question to ask, right? So the lady, I'm just asking every kid how much scholarship they got, which was pretty weird. Anyway, I didn't get their numbers. It wasn't about those ladies, you know. The secretary was pretty old, and the college interviewer, you know, I was focused when I was in the interview, but lo and behold, on the same day, it was also scheduled for the high school to have its, I don't know, a blackout drill. They close the doors, lock the doors, and then like they put posters on the windows, in the door, windows. Everything's really dark out. So I had to like finish the interview. They make the announcement for it, so I walk in. So the interview is actually being held in place at near the guidance counselor's offices. They got a break room. I had my interview there. I finished, and they make an announcement. Dear students, we're gonna have our blackout drill. Get to your classes immediately. And then I didn't have any classes at the time. It was a free period. So I went to my guidance counselor's office. Yeah, I went to his office. You know, so during the story, we're gonna have a lot of different people mentioned. I'm gonna name their names just alphabetically, you know, from the top. So we're not putting any biases into it. I don't want you guys figuring out who it is. So my guidance counselor, Mr. A, we'll call him that. I walk into his room. I'm like, yeah, Mr. A, I walk into his room like this, you know, pretty feeling myself. You know, I just did pretty good at my college interview. I walk in, looking pretty fresh. I'm like, open the door. Mr. A, what's up? Yeah, oh, that's great. I need a room. It's a blackout room. So he said, yeah, come on in. And then I sat down over here. Mr. A is over there at the corner of that desk. And now this is a cubicle room, right? This is a very small cubicle. It probably would start from where I'm sitting. I mean, this is probably his actual desk. It starts from over here to where the TV starts. It's a cubicle. And there were 5 people in that room, okay? This is where it happened. This is where I started my pickup games, you know? Listen up. I walk in, I sit down, there's 5 people here. Mr. A is over there, and then girl B. There's a girl over here, sitting over there. Another girl who I actually know. She was a senior with me in my class. Girl C. And there's an older woman over there. Woman A, woman C, woman D. This woman's over here. I don't know who she is. Honestly, I forgot she was there for the most part. But yeah, so we all sit down. The blackout drill starts. You know, it's all dark out. It's all dark out in the rooms and in the hallways. And I look to my left, and this girl A. Whoo, she is cute. Very beautiful. She was a light-skinned girl. She was a year younger than me. Very cute. There was 2 other women there, like I said. One I knew. The other was a woman I did not know at all. So I'm sitting here, looking at this girl, like in my peripheral. You know, I'm looking this way, but I'm looking peripherally at her. You know what I'm saying? Yo, she's pretty cute. And then eventually I started to get the idea I should talk to her. But you know, you're not supposed to talk during a blackout at all. And there's 3 other people in the room with us. So I get the very innovative idea to get out my phone and draw her some messages. Yeah, I drew her the messages instead of texting it on a notepad. I'm like, what the? Alright, so I drew it. And you know, I try to get her attention, right? And I'm sitting down. My ass is sitting down. She's sitting down over there. I'm kind of looking at her. Wait. I'm kind of looking at her, but not looking at her at the same time. The 2 girls over there. Mr. A is over there. The guidance counselor and the girl whose phone number I'm trying to get is over there. At the time, I wasn't trying to get a phone number. I was trying to talk to her. So then I draw it out, show it to her, try and get her attention. I'm like, and then I start clapping my feet. Not so loud, but I'm just doing it for dramatic effect. She sees it. She takes my phone, and we start talking to each other. You know, she's like, hey, what's your name? You know, I asked her, what's her name? And she says, yo, I'm girl B. Girl A. I'm girl A. Shit, Renny. She's girl A. And I said, oh, how old are you? And I asked her how old I was. Because I wasn't really sure. I knew she was younger than me. I didn't want to catch a case or anything. I was 18 at the time, so she was probably 17 or something. Anyhow, I got her name and stuff. And we started talking, you know. And she was like, oh, she gets tired. It really is kind of funny passing her on your phone and stuff. Because the other people could definitely see it. There was no way for me to be secretive about it. You know, the desk was here, but there's no way for me to not show. But yeah, they got the idea. She says, lol, you should text me. Then she texts me. She writes down her number. That's how I got her number. You know, she was a really cute girl. I got her number there, and then it turns out the reason that she was at the guidance counselor's office, which I found out after texting her, was that she was moving to Atlanta. Would you believe it? I just get her phone number, and she's moving to Atlanta the end of the week. Today was like Thursday or something. I'm like, shit. And guess who the woman was? Guess who the woman was on the far side over there? It was her mom. Yeah, her mom was there, and I got her phone number, and her mom saw me doing it. And my classmate was there, and my guidance counselor was there, And oh my God, I'm not lying to you when I say this, but I was feeling myself after I got over the fact that she's going to Atlanta. I was feeling myself. I mean, this is the story I tell, this is the kind of story you tell to your boys. And that's the only story I have to tell to my boys, which is kind of sad, but not the case. That's not important right now. I get her phone number. She's going to Atlanta. Shit ends there. But I get a story to tell to tell to my boys, to teach you guys about how I got her phone number during a blackout drill with her mom there. God, that was something. And then when it all ended, when the blackout drill ended, it was so weird. Her mom got up, she got up, everybody got up, and then I had to look at her mom in the eye as I walked out. Oof, high school was one of those. High school was definitely something, While we're still on the topic, when I was in 7th grade, I tried out for the football team. And man, like I said, I only lost weight when I was the summer of 10th grade, so I was pretty fat. And football was the first sport I was ever actually going to play for the high school. And it turns out, I'm slow as hell. I am really slow. And then we're doing these suicides during practice, and these guys have to keep running because I'm so slow. I'm the last person, and I can't make it on time because we're doing going up and down in 30 seconds, and I couldn't make it. So we just kept doing it over and over again. And this goes on for a couple of practices, a couple of days. And after practice, one of the days, a kid comes up to me and says, I don't know, I guess it was some fucked up. It wasn't fucked up things. It was reasonable since I was really making the team run too much. He comes up and says some stuff, and I say some shit. I'm not afraid of him. He's a bit smaller than me, a lot smaller and a lot skinnier than me, and I'm like, I'm overweight, but. I start talking shit too, and then his friend joins in, and I'm like, oh my God, I start crying. When his friend starts joining, and he's a tall guy, and I start crying because I didn't have anybody like that to be on my side like that, and it was such an emotional moment. I started crying, and then I left the locker room. I went outside. They had a back entrance exit. I go to the driveway or whatever, and then another kid comes by, and he actually comes and consoles me. He was such a nice guy. Totally not what I expected of him, because I thought he was kind of like a troublemaker. Yeah, he came out. I think the reason I started crying was I felt so alone, I mean, this guy had another friend to help him out, and I felt so jealous at the same time as well, My family and I, we immigrated here when I was around 5 years old. We're Indian, so we always had some fucked up stereotypes, especially for black people. We had some. My parents believed it. My mom believed it. So I grew up knowing those kind of things, but I didn't exactly believe in them so much. But as I was going through high school, especially in that moment when I got started crying, it was two black guys, and honestly I felt so alone. And then at the end, when the guy who came out to console me, he was also black. He was a really good guy, dude. I really appreciate him for what he did. Like, the time when I felt so alone, dude, it was such a big thing for me to happen there. You know, I was gonna get into this later, but my dad died really young. When I was really young, around when I was like 1 years old or something. So I guess I always felt really alone or missing something, you know. We gotta do that again. Let's get some water. So we just talked about how I am such a ladies' man before that heavy stuff. It wasn't exactly what I was planning to get into. Let's talk about Star Wars, and we'll get back to this topic. It'll help explain it better. Since this is the part where the conversation is gonna get a bit hot, I'm gonna take my sweater off. Jesus Christ. Speaking of Jesus Christ, Star Wars. I'll tell you how that relates, guys. Just watch. So I was watching Star Wars, you know, the past couple months, 2 months or so. I probably finished in a month or something. The Star Wars movies, right? There's like 8 of them or 7 of them. And I started at episode 1. And let me tell you, it is really confusing. The movies are not released chronologically. The first movie that was released was chapter 4 of the Star Wars series. Star Wars timeline. Yeah, but I watched it from chapter 1, which was released afterwards. Much farther ahead. They really do have really weird sequencing to it, but you should watch it from chapter 1 to chapter 7. That's usually how it goes. So Star Wars, if you guys don't already know about it, it's a very popular movie series. You guys should definitely watch it. I am definitely going to have some spoilers in it too, in my conversation today. So don't close your ears, watch the movies, I don't know. Pick what you will, pick your poison. Anyhow, I want to talk about Anakin Skywalker. Very familiar name, right? If you guys don't know, he was born of a virgin birth, which means his mom didn't fuck anybody to have him, at least to have him, you know. Yeah, apparently he was born because of the midichlorians, some microscopic organisms that know the way of the force, you know. And apparently it was them and his mom and a lot of intense bedroom time. Yeah, I'm joking. It's not like that, but it's true. Some microorganisms. Fuck me, bro. Wait a second. Anakin Skywalker. Virgin birth, right? Just like Jesus. You know, it's really a common topic, even in in mythology, that heroes, or in Jesus in this case, wouldn't have a father. They wouldn't know who the father is, or the father isn't human, such and such. It's a really common theme used in mythology and even in Star Wars. You know, you guys saw Anakin Skywalker, born from the Holy Spirit. I mean, the midichlorians. Yeah, the midichlorians. And his mom. What I wanted to relate to you guys was the fact that Anakin Skywalker has no father. Yeah, you know who else has no father? Me. And black people. Yep, black people and me. Yeah, we do. It's a very, very, really unexpected relatableness, I guess. Back when I was telling you guys about that story about when I was crying, yeah, I was crying. In no quotes, I was crying my ass out. During in the locker room in 7th grade. I got you, man. Anyhow, it was this time when I was in 7th grade where I was in the football team, and we were doing a couple of practices. You know, it was a couple of days into the season. It was the first sport I ever played, and I was overweight at the time. We were running a lot. We did some long distance runs, and then we did some sprints back and forth. And I kept not making the time for it, and the team had to keep running because of me. So later on in the day, we went into the locker room, and one of the kids come up and complains to me about having to run too much because of me. I start getting not emotional, but defensive, because of that. I'm like, yeah, so what? And then apparently something like that. And then one of his friends, other friend, comes through, and they start ganging up on me. They're not punching me or anything, but I feel like, I feel like that. I feel that feeling of apprehension. Yeah, I learned that in mom's class, by the way. Feeling of like, something's about to happen. Things are getting heated, And at the time, I was so scared, I started crying. I left the locker room crying, and I left the locker room crying. And I really did hate those guys in some way, which, in whatever way was possible for me at that age, which really I didn't know much about the world, so it was a really childish kind of feeling, kind of hate. I leave the locker room crying, and I think about I think the reason that I was so upset was not because there might be like a fight coming and I'm afraid of getting hurt. And that's probably part of it, but it's more so about me not having anybody by my side like that, At the time, there really wasn't anyone there. I did feel like that feeling of being alone. I think that was what made me get really emotional at the time. And I don't know, I kind of hated those guys for it. And I think at some point I was attributed to their own race. We were black guys, but at the time when I was a kid, that was probably what I felt. At least not superficially, but subliminally, A feeling of apprehension, of being feared, of being scared, of being alone. I attribute it to that. But there's more to the story, which I'll explain later. It's like the reason I didn't know this when I was a kid. I was just so young, I didn't have enough experience, but I have a lot in common with black people, African Americans, whatever. African Americans, not whatever. We have really similar experiences, not the same, a common trope of black people not having black fathers, not being there for their kids. Me personally, I didn't have a dad, my dad was dead. It is different, but there were some little things that I was able to find that I can relate to, and find a certain sense of common ground with. Eventually, in 10th grade, I started losing weight because I wanted to play basketball. Played basketball a lot, ran a lot, lost a lot of weight. And I started playing basketball at the park. There was a lot of black people there, and that's just the demographics around where I was living. And we fought with each other, playing basketball. We exchanged blows in basketball. We're not fighting or anything, but I had to get really close with a lot of black people, understand them a bit more. I mean, we're all just human, but like when I got really close, I had some really deep conversations with some of them, and I started, saying the N-word all the time. But it wasn't to like be rude or anything. It wasn't to like be mean or anything like that. It was out of compassion, out of love, That's what it usually is, even if it is between just black people themselves. But I was part of that culture, part of that setting, environment. I want to talk about the N-word, and I wanted to say like how it's important for us to redefine how we use it, or like the stigma behind it. Like, should it still be something that people have a lot of conflict and tension over? Or rather, should it be something that we can laugh about and cry about? Because there is a lot of fucked up history and suffering behind that. We need to understand that, accept that. But it shouldn't be something. The knowledge of that shouldn't be something that limits us from being closer to each other. We should try and find common ground with it somehow. With that out of the way, let's get into Star Wars. Specifically, Boba Fett. In Chapter 2 of Star Wars, when Anakin Skywalker isn't a kid anymore, he's like in his teenage years or something, like a Jedi. There's some assassin that tries to make a move on Queen Amidala, and apparently the assassin is an accomplice of Boba Fett. I'm sure you guys know that name, Boba Fett. He's a cool guy, I think. And the assassin can change. Well, actually, let's talk about Boba Fett. Apparently, spoiler warning, Boba Fett is not the real Boba Fett. Boba Fett... Wait, actually, at that time, Boba Fett was the real Boba Fett, yeah. But he goes through cloning. Yeah, he is who all the clones are based off of. And he kept one clone to himself. One very special, normal, exact version of himself, and raised them up as his own kid. And wait, no, let's talk about it later. Let's talk about the assassin who was an accomplice to Boba Fett. The assassin can change their species and their gender whenever they wanted to. During the chase scene when Anakin was trying to catch the assassin, it was changing into different things. And I got to thinking, what if eventually we could do that? Or we find some kind of super race. What if transgender people had the ability to do an operation and they can change at will like that? It'd be some kind of superpower. I mean, I know who would appreciate that aside from transgender people. Black people, yeah, they would. Let me tell you a funny story, bro. Not a funny story, but a funny remark. If black people could change, and this is not my joke, it's Dave Chappelle, but if black people could change, it changes to white people, and they can get a bank loan for free. Like that. They would get it like that. God, this shit is going bad. I am bombing my ass off. Not what would have happened. But when does things ever really go the way we wanted to go, huh? I don't know. Let's talk about Boba Fett. It's possible that eventually we will advance to the level of civilization that Star Wars depicts seems reasonable. I think the author George Lucas did pretty well in building his world like that. And it is a really apparent possibility of cloning. Cloning is a big controversial topic for us nowadays. I mean, if we had clones, if we had human clones, we probably wouldn't have to work. We could do a whole lot of sorts of things, experimentations, raise them as normal kids too, like Boba Fett did. Boba Fett number 1 did to Boba Fett number 2. Or, if we're at that stage already, we can probably get machines to do all of our work as well for us. Then we can get fat, lazy, and get drunk all the time too. Hey, whatever floats your boat, But it's bound to happen, Progress is bound to happen. Let's go back onto the transforming alien, okay? Can you imagine the problems that it would have? The self-identity problems? It could change at will. But imagine that it doesn't have its own original form. Imagine how such big identity problems that it would have. And we ourselves have such big identity problems. We're on the path to moving towards even more complex situations because of technology. And I'm not saying we should halt technology, not at all. We really can't. It goes against human nature to do so. But we gotta figure our shit out, especially when it comes time to for space exploration. It'll be like it was when we started navigating the seas or flying in the sky, We gotta figure out our shit before it happens. It takes a lot of thinking, a lot of philosophical thinking. I imagine if someone was to make a book about it, it'd be like the new Bible or some sort of stuff. Maybe it wouldn't be a prophetical thing, but it'll have to be big, We have a lot of work to do within ourselves, within our society. We gotta figure that out before we go out to the stars. Otherwise, all the problems like global warming, like the natural problems like global warming, pollution, and all that, it's gonna be a problem in those worlds. There are a lot of people who are on the task trying to figure that shit out, but they can't do it alone, But we all need to be on the same pace. We all got to be on the same pace first, Set the right mindset. I was thinking about that a lot lately. Actually, not lately. I've been thinking about it a lot for a while. I want to help make a difference like that, change the world, have a big impact. And that's the area that seems most apparent to me, that I'm aware of. See what I can do, but there's a lot I need to learn. There's so many people who know so much more about me. They have been, and it hasn't been done yet. So, what needs to be done? What more do I need to learn? You guys ever notice that Jesus Christ and the Buddha are both homeless people? Not for the entirety of their lives, they left society. They literally left society and went into the wilderness in some sort of way. But they were also homeless, They were moving around and stuff, and it got me thinking, man, maybe I should try this out, maybe I should try it out. Maybe it's not as bad as it seems. Maybe there's something to learn there, Then I thought about, damn, I better not tell my mom. People would think you're crazy if you did that. Willingly to do it, but yet, if that makes you crazy, and being crazy is an unreasonable thing, why do so many of us believe in the teachings, that the Buddha and Jesus Christ spoke of, There's more to it than it seems. And I imagine, if Jesus and Buddha couldn't do it, who can, right? And are you supposed to get everybody on the same level at the same time? I don't know. Seems impossible to do, but it seems like that's the right objective. You know what I'm saying? You gotta aim high in order to at least land close to it. If you aim low, you're not gonna make it at all. Aim high, at least you'll get pretty far. You get as far as you can. We should really be able to laugh, cry, and then be honest about all that racial tension, especially from the past. It's been a long time, but I'm not saying it should be forgotten. It should be something. It just shouldn't be something that holds us back. You know what I'm saying? I noticed in some of my classes that a lot of people have really difficult topics addressing race. And me personally, I feel like a middleman, because I feel like I was brought up in at least black culture, because I was brought up near it. Even in my own culture, Indian culture, was brought up to it. But I know all the stereotypes. I believed it when I was a kid, but I was just a kid at the time as well. You get older, you try and understand these stereotypes, and you could become more aware of it. But there's more to just being aware of it. You gotta make a change to it. It's not something that has to be some uncomfortable topic for the end of time, for the foreseeable future. It should be something we move past. So, I think taking away the exclusiveness of the N-word or the penalty of using it when you're not a black person, it's not reasonable. It's not what you want, even if you're black, It's not what you want. It doesn't help you. It only causes a separation between people. And I was reading, what was it? What's that reading? Something about, the reason that America will lose to China is because America is racist, while China is Chinese. We have so many different cultures that we haven't yet been able to find common ground. And yeah, there are common things we do during our lives, but still, our race is still a topic that we haven't challenged ourselves to become uncomfortable with it, and then find that sweet spot. It's important. It's not you don't do it to compete with China, but you do it because that's what you got to do. That's what makes life better. Life is better with more. The more the merrier, right? So you want the more people around you as you can. Shouldn't distinguish between races, You should be jealous, not jealous. You should want it all, one thing I think about is like God would want all of us to be by His side, you know. So He's like very, very zealous in that manner. Even if we like do a fuck up mistake or something, He still is not something. A child is not something you want to lose, you know. Think of ourselves with compassion to each other with compassion, you know, like Jesus was speaking of compassion, self-sacrifice. And I think we'll move in the right direction that way. Because there's definitely going to be some new changes coming up, a new era, you know, space exploration is coming, like I said. I do believe it. If it's not Elon Musk, it'll be somebody else, and then we got to make sure we get this shit fixed up, otherwise there's going to be another Christopher Columbus, bro, going around. Gonna have a slave trade or a whole lot of bullshit, you know. But we gotta get our things, our ducks in row, our society in row. We gotta help the world too, bro. We can't forget about the world we're on right now. It's all big picture right now. All big picture. Alright, it's Nassau. Thanks for joining me, guys. I will see you next time. Stay foolish, stay faithful, stay focused. I'm out of here. Peace, my fools. Holy shit, nigga.